Berthe Morisot was born in France in 1841 and became one of the most famous Impressionist painters of the time, even though this was not common for women. Impressionist painters were known for showing their brush strokes and focusing on light and movement in their paintings. Today we are going to do our own Impressionist paintings, focusing on showing off our brush strokes as well. Before we begin, let's review proper brush technique. Please do not smash the bristles. First, we're going to start by creating our vase. Please make sure that this is larger than your fist, and you can create whatever shape you'd like. We're not going to draw a line along the top because we're going to be filling this in with flowers. I'm simply drawing some circular shapes around the middle and top of my vase. These do not have to be perfect circles, and they can be a variety of sizes. Once you have some circles, feel free to fill in with a few leaves around the edges. And finally, we don't want our vase to look like it's floating in the air, so we're going to give it a table to sit on. You're going to go about halfway up your vase and draw a straight line across. When you're finished, I want you to get off that excess black paint below that horizon line. Now we're going to switch to our flat brush, and we're going to pick up some white and add that right on top of our table. This should give kind of a gray look. Now, don't overblend. We want to see those brush strokes. Next, we're going to start painting our flowers, but we are not going to rinse out our paintbrush. We want this dry brush effect so that we can see those brush strokes just like the Impressionist painters. If you notice, I am not filling in the whole space. One thing that I want you to keep in mind is that we don't want to overblend. So right here, you can see I used yellow and then orange and then pink, but it all looks like one color because I blended it so much. We want to see the brush strokes and see the different colors. I would suggest that you start with lighter colors first. So I'm using warm colors, and I started with yellows, then I'm going to orange, then I'm going to use some pink and some red. When you're layering colors, you always want to start with lighter so that you don't get that muddy look. Every time I switch colors, if you notice, I am just simply brushing off the excess paint on the background. This way my brush is clean when I dip it into a new color, and we're also getting some color and interest in the background as well. Keep layering on the paint until you're happy with the way that your flowers look. And remember, every time you switch colors, brush off the excess. I'm going through now and I'm adding some white paint to each flower to highlight and show some tints instead of just those solid hues. Now we'll move on to painting the leaves. I'm going to start by just adding a dab of white paint in each leaf, and then again, brush off that excess paint before you dip into the next color. Now I'm going over top of the white with some green so that I have a light green color. Now if you add more green, it'll be a little bit darker, less green, it'll be a little bit lighter. So you can play around with whatever shade you'd like for your leaves. If you find that some of them are too light or you want a variety of colors, feel free to dip back into the green or back into the white. until you get the right tone. Now briefly, we're going to switch back to the round brush and we're going to add some black dots in the middle of each flower. And finally, we get to paint the vase. Choose whatever color or colors you like. If you use more than one color, make sure that they are analogous colors, meaning they are next to each other on the color wheel, like my blue and purple here. And when you are done painting the vase, again, I would brush off the excess and then dip into that white paint one more time to add some highlights to the vase. If you find that you added a little bit too much, you can feel free to grab a little bit more of your hue and go back over again. Hopefully, when you're finished, you can see lots of individual colors with their tints and shades and those individual brush strokes, just like those Impressionist painters.